Hello and welcome. This is part of our networking series. In this video, I'm going to show you what a NOC engineer or a network engineer does, for example, day to day. A request comes to you sometimes. You need to commission new devices, maybe configure routing, switching. So we're going to see one requirement that came to your desk. It says, and for example, here in this building, if you've been watching the other videos, and we've done some wireless configurations, and the staff Wi-Fi access was already configured. We talked about bill of materials, what devices you need, what things you have to configure. But in this case, the business decided to open a new cafe somewhere near the offices. So when the visitors come, they can sit there and they can have wireless access. So we have here a new switch that's deployed in that area, and then an access point, lightweight access point, and one of the users as a sample. So now the requirement is provide internet connectivity. Of course, you will be creating firewall rules in the environment to manage what needs to be done, what the users can access, what cannot be accessed. But I just want to go through what process an engineer takes. For example, in that case, you go and first of all find out the change control process. What are you required? For example, when you are deploying something or maybe configuring something, you're changing an existing environment, then you'll be interrupting business services. So to avoid that, the company has their own change control. The change control requires you to prepare the process, log a ticket. So if you have a ticketing system, then you log a ticket requesting for that change and putting all the details and providing your run book, maybe what process you're taking, rollback plan. If anything goes wrong, how do you go back and bring services back? That's the first part you will work on. When you meet the change team and get the approval, then you start building your configurations, and of course the run book. You provided some summary of view of it, but then you have to provide the details of step by step. Things you might need to think about are this new wireless access point you're mounting here. What SSID is going to be propagating? So we need a VLAN ID. That VLAN ID will need a subnet details, like the subnet where it starts, where it ends, and then the services like routing, DHCP, DNS, NTP. And then you think about access lists to control that traffic. And then if they want to access the internet, that will be private IPs. And then if you want to get them to the internet, you need public IP addresses. So you need to do NATing as well. So these are the steps you will do, for example. Then you will have a documentation sheet, and that documentation sheet will provide the details of your configuration. So for example, here, this is a simple spreadsheet, and you have VLAN, you have selected the name, you call it VLAN 50, you get this subnet where it starts, where it ends, and then the subnet, it is broadcast, the subnet mask, the default gateway, or maybe the first usable address is the default gateway, and it is last usable. And then here the details of the default gateway. You might think these are repetition, but actually quite useful when you are doing designs. So a document like that will provide you maybe you're updating with whatever you choose, or maybe somebody assigns those to you, and then you say, okay, I now know the subnet, the VLAN ID, but I need to create a pool, and I need to, for example, you basically reserve the first 10 IP addresses, 20 IP addresses, maybe for your devices. And then you need to provide the default gateway in the pool. Then you start working on your routing. We have OSPF in the previous videos. We configured OSPF. So you think about that as well. And then you create wireless SSID. So we might want to do the first part with this only. Then in the second video, I will show you how to create the SSID and then how to connect. So let's start with our plan. We know there is a VLAN ID. And in the previous videos, there is a VLAN trunking protocol we talked about. It is benefits, it is issues, for example, and we need to create the VLAN here. So if we log in, show VLAN brief, let's create the VLAN, and we call it conft conft, and then we create VLAN 50, and we name it guest Wi-Fi. Okay, that VLAN is there, and then the interface that's connected to the cafe switch is fast Ethernet 0/5. So let's go to that and then say show run. We are connected to fast Ethernet 0/5 and it's a trunk, so that's fine. And then we need to go to that switch and then check its interfaces. Okay, so let's rename this switch and call it cafe, a cafe switch, whatever the name you like. Then let's go to the interfaces, and the first interface 0/1, we make it a trunk, fast Ethernet 0/1, switch port mode trunk, and that will carry the connectivity. If we need other VLANs in the future, maybe some of the stuff are working there and we need to have the stuff Wi-Fi as well, so that make it trunk to carry all the VLANs. But that one, fast Ethernet 0/2, it will be VLAN 50. So let's exit this interface and say interface fast Ethernet 0/2, and we make it switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN, that was 50. And maybe probably the other interface 3, we might decide to connect one laptop or something like that. So also switchboard mode access, switchboard access VLAN 50. We could make a range, but here you go, you got two interfaces and those are assigned to VLAN 50. Then one trunk interface connecting here. When I say two interfaces, I mean the one you connected here and one is spare, we haven't connected yet. But fast Ethernet 0/1, it's a trunk. So we're done with that, and then we can configure the access point there and give it powered on. So it's already powered on. If you want to do the DHCP, it will receive the IP address. That's all we have to do for the access point. We don't do any configurations. It's a lightweight access point. It will process whatever traffic comes here, will propagate the SSID to the users. So that's all done. So go back to the plan again. What we have done, we prepared a change control request. We have our runbook. We created the details in a spreadsheet. Then we started configuring them. When you're configuring them, as part of the change control, you agree with a downtime when you can actually implement those changes. And the other parts we will go through, but let's go back to the wireless and how that works. In another video, I will show you that. So thank you for your time and see you